For the last 30 days, I've been doing a month of monochrome challenge, where I only shoot black and white and completely avoid color. I know, it sounds a little crazy, but honestly, I think you should try it. In this video, I'm going to share my experience shooting only black and white, what I learned, and whether I think this challenge is worth trying for yourself. I'll admit, I was nervous starting this challenge. My second day of shooting black and white was also my first Bills game and my first ever football game. A place like this is so full of energy and colored, I wondered if black and white would even work. To my surprise, it actually turned out pretty well. It was cold and rainy, and I think the lack of color really brought that feeling through in the photos in a way that color just wouldn't. Of course, my brothers kept asking me to switch back to color, but I'm glad I stuck with monochrome. After the first few days though, things weren't fully clicking. I was enjoying the process, but I didn't feel like I was really seeing in black and white yet. So I turned to Threads for advice, and YouTuber Garrett Ware shared a podcast episode with me that completely changed how I looked at black and white. The big takeaway was, black and white removes tonal distractions. This lets your subjects stand out in your photos more than if you were shooting color.
If I'm shooting street and there's a big ugly orange construction sign in my scene that I don't really feel is pertinent to the scene or important to my subject, I may want to remove that.
Right.
And I can do that with black and white. It removes those distractions and removes things that take away from our subject matter.
I'll link the podcast below, it's definitely worth listening. After hearing that, I started applying it to my own photos and things started to make a lot more sense. The first week was exciting. It reminded me of that feeling of getting a new camera. Everything felt fresh and different. It just made me want to go out and shoot. I honestly thought I'd get bored of monochrome pretty quickly, but that didn't happen. That said, I wasn't super happy with the photos I was taking. I struggled to get my subjects to stand out. No matter how much contrast I added or masking I did, my photos felt flat. So, going into week 2, I decided to slow down and really focus on being more intentional with my shots. I finally felt like I was starting to see in black and white. I found myself taking shots I wouldn't normally take if I were shooting in color, and I started skipping shots that relied too heavily on color. I also got better at handling my exposure. Shooting in black and white feels different. For example, you don't have to worry as much about clipping the highlights and overexposing skies because it's gonna be white anyway. And crushing the shadows, that just adds contrast. Overall, I felt like I had more flexibility, which let me experiment a bit more with my photos. By the end of the third week, I'll admit, I started to feel some fatigue. I've really enjoyed the challenge, but I was ready to start shooting in color again. Still, I stuck it out and finished the fourth week strong, and wrapped up my month of monochrome. The biggest thing I took away from this challenge is that both black and white and color have their place. One isn't better than the other, they're just different tools for telling a story. That said, you can almost always make either work if you're intentional about it. Another huge takeaway of this challenge is how much it helps slow me down. Shooting in black and white reminded me of shooting film in a way. Without color to rely on, you have to focus more on framing, exposure, and your composition. If you don't nail those things, the photo just won't work. I think slowing myself down and really thinking about these elements is going to make a big difference in my color work moving forward. When I put out my initial video announcing this challenge, which if you haven't watched yet, you definitely should, I encouraged you to join in with me. So if you did join in with me, let me know how it went in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you learn? If you didn't join in with me or you're just hearing the challenge for the first time now, it's never too late. Take the next 30 days and only shoot in black and white and come back and let me know how it went. I really enjoyed this challenge and there's really no reason not to try it. It's 30 days and you'll learn a lot about yourself, your photography, and shooting black and white. For now, go ahead and take some photos. Thanks for watching.